My sister said that having a miscarriage was not a valid excuse. My sister told me that I'm never around for important things in her life, but each time was seriously just a series of unfortunate coincidences. Like for her graduation ceremony, I didn't expect to get stung by a bee on the way to the stadium. If I wasn't almost dying from the bee sting, I would have gladly gone. Instead of understanding my situation, my sister got angry and refused to speak to me for a month. This time, my younger sister had a wedding coming up and I was super excited to go, but 2 weeks before the wedding, I suddenly got a miscarriage. I was out at the mall with my husband when my body suddenly experienced severe cramps. I tried rushing towards the bathroom and sat there bleeding my guts out. My husband rushed me to the hospital, where we received the news of the miscarriage. I was seriously devastated and spent a few days grieving before letting my mom know that I wasn't going to be able to go to the wedding. My mom tried to speak to my sister about the situation gently, asking her to be understanding and to give space for me to grieve. My sister absolutely lost her cool and spammed my phone with calls and messages in the middle of the night until I picked up. She immediately yelled at me saying, "This is my wedding, not some family dinner you and your husband can just skip." I apologized weakly, but I was too exhausted and asked her to understand. I started crying into my pillow, feeling like a disappointment. I cuddled up to my husband and played the call on loudspeaker. She proceeded to reject my apology with a, "No, of course I don't understand. Your miscarriage has nothing to do with my wedding." Out of spite, she added, "It's not like you gave birth and have a newborn you gotta stay home for. You can always make more, but I will only have this wedding once." She continued ranting until my husband got fed up and jumped in, calling her insensitive and emphasizing that I was grieving. My sister told him to stay out of it, and he completely lost his temper, telling her buzz off in a harsher way before hanging up. My husband turned my phone off and cuddled me, stroking my hair until I fell asleep. The following morning, my mom called to check on me because apparently my sister's fiance heard about the conversation and wanted to uninvite us all of a sudden. I explained what happened and said that it would be fine if we were uninvited because I wasn't planning on going. My mom sighed, tired of playing the middleman, and told me that she would take care of things with my sister. Later that day, my sister texted me saying that I was a coward for hiding behind mom. She told me that the least I could do was stop by for an hour or two instead of completely canceling on her, just like I did for her graduation ceremony. She sent a long, sad message about how she showed up to my wedding, so it's seriously horrible that I wasn't going to show up for hers. At this point, I realized that there was no winning against my sister. I finally gave in, and despite being completely mentally unfit to go out, I agreed to stop by for the ceremony, but I explained how I would definitely not be at the reception. Instead of being thankful, she said, "All this drama just for you to show up anyway." I groaned and told my husband that we were going to the wedding after all, and he was equally not happy with the decision. On the day of the wedding, I asked my sister if I could sit in the back just to be nearer to the bathrooms in case of emergencies, and she told me no because the seats were arranged so that important family members would be closest to the stage. But midway through, I was seriously struggling. My body was cramping up excessively. It wasn't until I noticed a bit of blood dripping down my leg that I asked my husband to walk me out to the bathroom. Seeing the trail of blood on the floor, my mom rushed into the bathroom to help me out. I spent the rest of the ceremony crying and bleeding out excess tissue from the miscarriage. By the time I was finished bleeding out my guts, the ceremony was completed, and my husband rushed me to the hospital to make sure that everything was okay. My sister called us while we were resting at the hospital, saying that I was a horrible person for ditching the ceremony and causing a scene. She told me that she hated how everyone's attention was on how I was doing, instead of on how expensive her wedding reception looks. I was done with her silliness and told her that I sincerely pray that she will never go through the things I went through today, and how even after giving her my best effort to show up, if she fails to appreciate anything I do, that's her problem, and not mine any longer. I blocked her number to finally get some peace until I fully recovered and finished grieving.